Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, on this episode of When the Hunt Calls, my guest was Ted Wallace. Ted is a native New Yorker, specifically from Brooklyn, lives out in Suffolk County right now, and is an NYC detective, all right? But he is an avid bow hunter. He is the owner of the company, The Rack Life, and is also a cast member, of Sons of Fall. So on this episode, I got the opportunity to just speak with him about hunting in New York, hunting outside of New York, and even what his dream hunts are. All right, so check it out.
All right, so let's get this started.
So,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to When the Hunt Calls. All right. This is a show basically where I am picking the brains of people that I find highly interesting on social media, specifically Instagram, and hope to pick their brains and, learn as much as I can before I go out on my very first hunt. So tonight's guest is none other than Ted Wallace, who is a native New Yorker, which is also one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to have you on. He is the owner of Rack Life, also known as @RealRackLife on Instagram, and he is a cast member of the Sons of Fall. All things that I would definitely want to get to within this, hour time frame that we have. So,
got it.
Ted, without further ado, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 55 years old. I started my hunting career a little later than most guys, but I'm a New York City police detective, 30 years plus. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. It's my home, Greenpoint, Brooklyn. I got the hunting bug from my grandfather, who used to tell a couple of little hunting stories, and I was just amazed by what was going on and what he was doing out there, and I kind of just caught the bug. And then from there, I just fell in love with bow hunting. I just loved the mechanics behind it, and it was just very interesting to me and very, just very simple. Like you're there with a stick and bow, and that's it, man. You're ready to go. So that's how I got started, and that's just a little background.
Nice, nice. Well, I gotta tell you, I'm a I don't know what. Basically, I'm from Brooklyn myself. I grew up, born and raised in Borough Park, so I know exactly where you're
Nice.
from in Greenpoint.
Yeah.
I only moved to Queens after I got out the service because my parents and I were the only ones in my family that lived in Brooklyn. The rest of my family lived out here in Queens. So
Okay.
when I got discharged in like '99,
Right.
what do you call it? My parents were out in Queens. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go stay with my parents. And
Yeah.
once I met my wife was like, I do not want to move to Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So, of
Just a
course,
little side note, I was in the Marine Corps from 83 to 87. So just a little sidebar, just to get that in there. Just a little plug,
well,
USMC.
well, Semper Fi, Double Dog, because I was in the Marine Corps from
Oh,
95 to
nice.
99. All right.
Wow.
So I see there was a connection
All
there,
right.
brother. There was a
All right.
connection
Yeah.
there. All right.
Very.
So, all right. So as a cop, as a detective, I'm sorry, as a
All right.
detective, all right, you carry a firearm with you, pretty much for it's a requirement for the job.
Right.
So what attracted you to bow hunting instead of, using a firearm to hunt?
Uh, well, in my opinion, and I don't ever want to, put down another hunter. It's just my preference
Hmm.
to bow hunt. I just love the simplicity about it. I love the mechanics behind the bow. I love the way the bow works. I love practicing all the hunting aspects, as far as scent control and being quiet. And, when you rifle hunt, you could kind of get away with those things
Hmm.
to a point. I'm not taking anything away from anybody, but my preference is the bow hunt. And the reason is because you kind of have to use all your senses and get a little closer. The action's a little closer. You have to kind of there's really no uh, room for error in bow hunting. I mean, you don't ever want to wound an animal. So I just love the simplicity of it, the tradition of it. I just love that. I love being in a tree stand, and I just love the mechanics behind a bow. I just love it. So
Nah,
that's why I bow hunt.
I totally agree. It's the same thing for me. I think as devil dogs, we both just want to make things a little bit more difficult for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ourselves.
A little challenging. Yep. A
Yeah,
little
exactly.
challenging.
Um, but I totally agree. I totally understand. There's a little bit more of getting back to the history of it, the historical sense of bow hunting than anything else
Yeah,
than
I
it is
enjoy it.
with than hunting with a
Exactly.
rifle. All right. So being from New York, and I guess I want to hear your story in terms of, like, I guess, what was the logistics like, or in terms of getting out to hunt? Was it really simple, being that it's something that was being passed down to you from your grandfather to you,
Yeah.
or did you have a hard time?
So how in my later years, so how I was introduced to it then was I had a friend of mine who took me out, and I was always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to bow hunt. So he took me out. I went to a place in Brooklyn, DNF Brothers, I think the name of it is, and I bought my
Uh,
first bow, it was a PSE, and I really didn't know much. I mean, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know, what to do. But I said, you know what? I'm a pretty common sense guy. I'm just going to head out there and try it. And for 5 years straight, in a public hunting spot, I didn't even shoot. I never shot a deer for 5 years of bow
wow.
hunting. So
All right.
I really stayed with it, but I was just so captured by the activity. I saw a lot of deer, but I just
Hmm.
wasn't good enough to take an animal at that time. I always hunted from the ground because that's what the guy who introduced me to hunting, that was what he preferred. So I didn't know there was any difference. I didn't know, I'm
Mm,
probably better off in a tree stand. I was sitting on the ground, bow hunting, which is pretty hard. I mean, I had some close encounters, but never really anything, I wanted to ever shoot at. I would never take a running shot or anything like that. So once I started getting my bearings and starting to understand what was going on, I moved to a tree stand. And once I did that, I mean, it was about 2 weeks. I took my doe, and that was the most amazing feeling after 5 years of not shooting anything. Taking a doe was one of the best trophies I could. I felt accomplished. I felt that I did everything right. There was no suffering. It was a clean harvest. It was
nice.
just I was out there by myself. I had to get the deer home. I had to, got the deer myself. So it
Wow.
was it was it was an experience for me. And then from there it just took off. I found different places to hunt, and that's how I caught the bug. And then after that, it's in my blood. It's not a hobby. It's just something I live for.
Nice, nice. All right. I'm kind of in the same boat. But I guess with you, I don't know how prominent social media was when you first started hunting, but I've been pretty lucky to meet people like yourself.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? I'll shout out a couple of people. There's a kid out in, I believe, if I'm pronouncing it right, Ossining, right outside the city.
right,
His name is Alex. He goes by at 0 feet per second. Really good kid. I
right,
pick his brain.
right,
And then another dude, an archery instructor out in Brooklyn, by the name of Brandon at Bramos Archery, and then a bunch of people out of state as well.
yeah,
Bjorn and Perfect Human, Alan
yeah,
Yates.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, again, I'm just shouting out
yeah,
people
yeah,
that
yeah,
have
yeah.
helped me out.
Yeah.
But was there uh how can I say, like, what area did you hunt the most when you first started out? Like, did you stay out? Did you go out east, or were you upstate a little bit?
Well, out east is a totally different animal.
Hmm.
How I started was the person who introduced me to hunting, to bow hunting. I joined a hunting club that
Okay.
was close to Phoenicia, upstate New York.
All right.
The deals were relatively cheap, but you had to be, you had to kind of be voted in to the club, which they had a
Hmm.
lodge and everything. But I kind of noticed there that the guys that were hunting were old timers, and they would rifle hunt. It really wasn't set up for bow hunting. I was sitting in a plastic
Right.
chair, and I really couldn't get a shot. It wasn't a good experience. It's a good experience to meet people and see how things
Yeah.
work, but it just wasn't for me. I wanted more than that. So I started not running out of places to hunt, but to bow hunt, you really have to know the area. So I
Hmm.
couldn't keep going in fresh every other 3 days to a different hunting spot. You could do it, but it's difficult. I mean, it's tough. So
Hmm.
what you want to do is you kind of want to set up a base for yourself and kind of know the area before you go in there and start bow hunting. So
Gotcha.
after a couple of places that I joined and a couple of places upstate where I hunted, there really wasn't many bow hunting opportunities for me. So I found one spot out east in the Yaphank area
Hmm.
that was conducive to allowing it was sort of a public land, but
Hmm.
it was owned by the county, but you were able to go in there and hunt, and nobody had any problems with it. Nobody, nobody was dumping anything there, so it was a pretty good experience for me. I hunted there for a long time. I mean, I hunted there for 10 years, 12 years,
Wow.
and then all of a sudden I went there and they posted the land. I mean, I had to sneak in there to get my tree stand out because it was left there. One day it was posted, the next day it wasn't. So uh,
Wow. All right.
that's how I started out east. And then just meeting people, like you said, networking. I met a guy on Facebook who, was nice enough and generous enough to show me another spot to hunt, and I've been hunting there ever since, and I have a lot of fun there. And it's a place that I can go not far from my house, 15, 20 minutes,
Oh,
and I go
nice.
there and I hunt, and I have a good time. And I've been lucky, I haven't had to pull my tree stand out. My equipment's pretty safe there, so I have no issues there. So I'm pretty lucky
All right.
in that
Nice.
sense.
Nice. All right. Um, for anyone starting out like myself, or even season hunters, who maybe want to hunt in New York State, what advice would you give them?
Well, what I would do is first I would go on a DEC website, and according to where they live, because you don't really want to. You can hunt 2 or 3 days, but you're not going to travel back and forth.
Hmm.
So I would find public hunting opportunities from the DEC map and
Hmm.
try to find public land.
All right.
If that doesn't work, because I know out east the public land hunting isn't the best. They really don't. It doesn't agree with what I think,
All right.
what I believe. I like to get out there a little earlier. There's time frames when you can go in and out. There's parking
Hmm.
spots where if a guy gets there before you, you can't hunt that spot. So your morning's ruined.
Hmm.
You,
Yeah.
you know what it's like. I mean, to go out there and to be all packed and ready to go, and then you get to a spot and there's some guy parked there, and it's public hunting. I mean, there's no problem with that. I don't have an issue with it.
Hmm.
So you can do that, but then you're going to have to do some legwork. You're going to have to put on your best smile, your best face, your best personality, and go out there and be humble
Hmm.
and go knocking on doors and see if there's, believe it or not, I mean, 2 or 3 acres today since they changed the New York State law going from 500 feet to 150 feet.
Hmm.
You could virtually hunt anywhere out east. So there's some clubs you could join. You could do some networking. Like I don't know what you do for a living, but for me, I can network. I could ask other guys that I work with. Oh, do you have a spot? They kind of like they don't mind it.
Hmm.
And especially bow hunting, they don't mind. But
Hmm.
if you can network and find a little niche, I mean, 2 or 3 acres.
Hmm.
That's really all you need. I mean, you're not going out there, trying to kill Pope and young bucks. If you are, then you better hunt Kansas. So,
Personally, like speaking to any people, I have no problem doing. Otherwise,
right,
I wouldn't be able to do
right,
this.
right, right,
But
right.
I'm a driver for UPS, so I
Okay.
deal with people on a daily basis.
I
All
think I
right.
saw your brown uniform a couple of
Yeah,
times.
yeah, exactly. So that's the thing for me that makes it difficult to plan a hunt. Is the
Right,
logistics of it because I'm working
right.
anywhere from 45 to 55
Yeah,
hours a week, and
yeah.
then I'm a husband and a father of three. I've got school age children, so
Right,
really leaving the house is difficult. Especially since this is my first time and I don't want this. I know it's going to be a great experience for me, but I don't want this new venture I'm taking on to be a negative experience for my family. So
right.
it's kind of difficult trying to, kind of negotiate all this, work this out. But for me, the land I'll potentially be hunting, um, is it's private land out in Millbrook and it's 6 acres. So
Okay.
I'm kind of happy to hear that you mentioned like 2-3 acres is pretty good
Yeah,
because like I mean this is 6 acres of land with a house kind of like maybe towards the middle because it's a rectangular piece of land and the house is almost smack dab in the middle of it.
right,
So I can go like all around it.
right, right, right.
So and I'm really happy, to hear you say 2-3 acres
Yeah,
is good because I was worried that 6 acres wasn't really enough of
right,
land to hunt that whether or not deer would come across it. But
right.
how do you or because I'm guessing you've hunted, New York State public land, for a good amount of
Right,
time. How do you prepare for that? Like in terms of you could prepare in terms of learning, the lay of the land,
right.
but in terms of what type of game or the size of the game that's out there or how often the game comes through.
Right.
How do you prepare for that? Like, are you able to post trail cams? Like what do you do?
Well, that's kind of a different. That's like kind of a different thing. Are
Hmm.
you asking me how I prepare to go out to hunt, or you're asking me what kind of research I do before that? Because
I
that's all part of the hunt. Like picking from the hunt starts for me the day I decide what game I'm going to hunt. As soon as
Okay.
I make the decision, the hunt starts from that day. Because then you have to apply for your license, you have to enter a lottery, you have to buy certain equipment. So that's all part of hunting. For me
Hmm.
anyway. I see that all as my hunting trip. Harvesting an animal when I'm
Right.
actually there is a plus for me. If I see bobcats, if I see critters, that's hunting. I mean, I love it.
Nice.
But if you're going to prepare, there's a couple of ways to do it. You have to, when it comes to public hunting, you have to be just use common sense. You're not going to go out and buy a $300 Spartan camera and put it on public land. If you have a sale and you could find equipment
Hmm.
that's reasonable priced, and if you don't mind losing it, then you could put a trail camera out there.
Okay.
Camouflage it a little bit and do that. If you're asking me how do I prepare, well, everybody has their own way, Cliff.
Hmm.
You might carry different equipment than I carry. You
Right.
carry the basics. You carry, your flashlight, a piece of rope, whatever you got to do.
Hmm.
But depending on what you're hunting and if you're bow hunting or rifle hunting, bow hunting's a little bit more equipment. I think, you have to carry a bow hanger. I like to videotape my hunt, so there's a bunch of camera equipment I bring. It's a real
Mm.
business for me. I
Got
really
it.
take
Got
it
it.
seriously. So there's a whole bunch of different aspects when you ask me that. Uh, because from the day I decide what game I'm going to hunt, that's the first day of my hunt for me, and that's how things get started. So I
Got
I
it.
enjoy the whole process. I enjoy packing. I enjoy getting my gear together. If I have to buy batteries for cameras, I go do it. So that's
Hmm.
all part of hunting for me. I mean, that's how I love it. So
Nice. Nice. All right. So you said a key word that I'm going to utilize to make a transition here. You said business. Now,
yeah,
you are the owner of Rack Life, right?
right. Yep.
Which for those who may
Proud
not
of it.
know, that's at Real Rack Life on Instagram. So tell me, how'd you go from, NYC detective to hunter to now owning a hunting business?
So Rack Life, to me was, I live on the East Coast. I live in Long Island, and all I kept seeing, this is how it started, by the way.
Mm,
So all I kept seeing was another company, another popular company that everybody knows, Salt Life.
mm,
And when I used to think about Salt Life, I kept thinking that they left out a ton of people. I mean,
mm,
they left out a ton of people, and it really kind of bothered me. Like, today's day and age, when we're trying to be all inclusive, I said, how can I develop a brand or a logo where Cliff would take that logo, put it on his chest, and feel like a team, feel like he belongs. I mean, we're all men here. A
mm,
logo is not going to make you feel that way, but if you could feel represented, and when you see a logo on a truck, and you kind of get that feeling that I belong to that, I'm a team member, I believe in what this guy's doing, then that's how Rack Life was developed. Rack
mm.
Life on the surface may be a brand or a logo, but it's a movement. I'm trying to pass this on and have everybody that's an outdoor enthusiast wear my coveted logo. I covet it, I love it, and I believe in the concept behind the logo. I mean, trust me, I want the logo and the brand to be the biggest thing since Coca-Cola, but I really do believe in that brand and that logo. And what I'm trying to do is put some backing behind it, so somebody like Cliff can put that on there and wear something that he feels close to or he can relate to. Because
Mm.
in this day and age where hunters are constantly falling under attack, and you may feel, I get the feeling like being a cop, like some cops feel, and I feel sometimes we're under attack, and it's not always a good feeling. So I
Mhm.
kind of get that from being a hunter also. I kind of
Got
get
it.
that feeling. So I can't really control what the police department does, but I can damn control what I do away from that job. And I developed a logo for you, Cliff, for me, and for every outdoor enthusiast out there. I developed this logo for them. So besides me owning it, it's everybody's logo and everybody's brand. So that's
Got it.
the story behind that logo. It's a passion for me.
Got it. I can totally respect that. Now, I know I said I had mentioned earlier that we would touch on this, if anything, at the end, but since we're
Sure.
talking
Yep.
about it, you know
Yeah.
what? For those of you who don't know, Ted had posted saying that he was looking for people to join his team. So tell us about that. Like, Rack Life is looking for people to represent that your brand. So what exactly are you looking for? What exactly does this recruiting process entail?
So I'm looking for people who are avid hunters, and I'm also looking for technical people, somebody that can help us out because we are ready to explode. We're ready to come alive. We're going to have our own YouTube channel, and we're going to start videotaping our hunts. And so I need some technical assistance. I need a little help with that. So you may not be you could be a hunter because you have to understand what goes on behind the scenes.
Mhm.
But if you have some technical qualities that you can contribute, that's fine also. So I'm looking for some ambassadors to get the word across the country, to show everybody else what we're all about. And if you can do that, then you're going to be very, very helpful to me. And I really do appreciate everybody that follows me. If somebody bought a sticker from me, I'm appreciative of that because they can spend their money, other places. But I'm looking for the right people. I prefer people maybe a little further away from New York, to
Mhm.
get the word
Out there.
across the country, which is helpful. I have five great guys. I have Shane, Andrew, Jason, Dave, and Rich. They're all great guys. I mean, avid hunters, and I couldn't be happier with what they're doing. I mean, you guys can follow them. You check them out. You'll see them on my Instagram account, The Real Rack Life. And check them out. They're a good group of guys, and anybody's welcome. I mean, if you're 15, I had some requests today for some 15-year-olds. If you're a female, if you're a male, and you're an avid hunter and you want to get involved, just DM me, hit me up, and we'll take it from there.
Nice. Nice. So, all right. So, to any and all of my followers watching right now, go to Instagram and check out, not only check out, but follow at Real Rack Life. All right. And check out what Ted is doing over there, and definitely DM him if you're interested in representing his
Yeah,
brand.
I'll
Because it
welcome
seems
it.
like it seems like a totally cool opportunity.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll welcome it. Yep.
So the next thing I want to touch on, which is another thing I've seen in your Instagram profile, was Sons of Fall. All right. Let everybody know what exactly is Sons of Fall.
All right, Sons of Fall. I got uh, hooked up with them by a gentleman named Joel Port. Great guy, Navy vet, active in the Navy. Just a fantastic group of guys. He reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be casted in a show called The Huntsman, and it's sort of like a reality show and showing all different personalities, all different hunting styles, all different parts of the country,
Okay.
and I definitely said I want to get involved in this. So I'm involved in it. I believe I spoke to Joel today. He told me I'm on episode 4. We used my main moose hunt,
Mhm.
as you can see behind me, the
Nice.
main moose hunt, and I spoke to Joel today just before I came on, and he said it's going to be an episode not to miss. But they're a great group of guys. It's sort of like a reality show. You're going to be able to vote, so I'm going to come back on here, Cliff, if you'd have me.
No,
And,
definitely,
we'll
definitely.
push for some votes, for me.
Got to take
And
care of my own. Got to take care of my own.
yeah, and the thing is, it's a reality show, like I said, and there's going to be a winner, and there's going to be a small prize, and my prize is going to go to the Widows and Orphans Fund for the New York City Police Department, which
Nice.
we're all heartfelt, and I'm doing it because I love to do it, and I love videotaping my own hunts, and these guys and the cast. Go check them out. They are fantastic. You wouldn't believe that the stuff they put out, and I'm a proud member of Sons of Fall. I mean, I really am proud to be part of this journey with them.
Nice. I can appreciate that. So, from what I understand now, do you pretty much regularly, do you self film, or do you have someone come along with you when you hunt?
Well, that's a little tough, because most people that film, we really don't get paid for this. It's a little tough to tell a guy, listen, you're going to go on this hunt, but you're not going to hunt. You know what I mean? Especially if the guy's a hunter. So it's a little tough. So I have Jason Aversa, who filmed the moose hunt, the main moose hunt in September 2018, and he was the bomb. I mean, he captured everything perfectly. Cliff, you're going to watch this and you're going to think it's a National Geographic documentary. I mean, he really hit it out of the park.
Nice.
We it was three guys, a guide, a hunter, and a film guy, cameraman that never really, met, and we kind of got put together, and we wound up knocking it out of the park. So I can't wait for you guys to see episode 4. It's going to be awesome. It's on MoTV every Monday, live TV, 8 o'clock. You can check out every episode as it comes up. It's just a great time. Great group of guys.
Awesome. So you mentioned the main moose hunt, right? So
Right.
You started out hunting in New York State. How many hunts have you been on out of state, and like where have you gone?
Well, my first, I believe, out of state. Well, I've been to Pennsylvania. I believe my first hunt out of state was in Quebec, in Canada. I went on a bear hunt in Quebec, and that was an experience. I had to drive there. It was 2.5 hours on a gravel road, which I never did before, and it was everybody spoke French. I had a tough time, but it was an experience. I mean, I absolutely loved it. It was the first time I ever bear hunted, and you're sitting on a ground blind, and you're saying, this thing could bite back. Like it's a little nerving. But that was a great time, great experience. Everything's documented. I love that. That was a great time.
Nice.
I've been to Kansas. I've been to Missouri. I've hunted in Florida. There's some, bucket list things I'd like to do, but I kind of just go with the flow, whatever I feel, and I kind of get guided and pointed in that direction. That Maine moose hunt, I had to apply for a lottery tag, and I was lucky. I mean, it took me 8 years to get that tag. It takes people a lifetime. It takes people a lifetime to get that tag. I was there hunting with guys that took them 26 years to get a tag. I was almost embarrassed and scared to tell them that it only took me 8 years. So it's a coveted tag. So you could see how difficult it is to get the tag, pick an outfitter, and then wind up with a gorgeous animal like that. I mean, it's a lot that goes into it, and for it to all come together with Sons of Fall and have that as an episode, a finished product, it's going to be amazing.
Nice. I can't wait to see it. Definitely can't wait to see it. Now, do you find, is it easier to plan a hunt on your own, being that you're as experienced as you are? Or if you had to choose, would you go with an outfitter and just let them, handle all the work?
Well, I guess it's tough. I mean, if you're going on a deer hunt, I guess you kind of can do that yourself. I mean, you can do a self-guided hunt, but I just don't have the, if you're going to travel to Colorado to do an elk hunt, first of all, you're not going to be able to do a lot of research. You're not going to be able to get there. You'll get there a week before, then show up there to hunt, and somebody will be in your spot. So, you also have to remember, the hardest thing that people forget is how are you going to get it out of there?
Yeah.
If me and Cliff are going on an elk hunt in Colorado, how are we going to get it out? Like, we can't put it in a Jeep Wrangler and pull that thing out of there. So it's tough. So sometimes you have to cut your losses, I believe. And if you really, an outfit is the way to go. In my opinion, you have a better time. You can enjoy the hunt and concentrate on your hunt, unless you do it all the time, unless you're used to it, and unless you really know what you're doing, or unless you don't really want to put the time in to prepare like that, and then just go for an outfitter, lay back, and enjoy the hunt. That's the way to do it. But you have to kind of be on an Angie's list, and kind of shop around for outfitters. Of course, it's tough. I mean, it's a business of people out there to make money. We've had some experiences that weren't the best, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
No, I hear you. I definitely hear you. So, I guess one of the questions I want to ask, I find I've been asking a couple of people this as of late. What's maybe the craziest hunting experience that you've had? Like something that's really out of the ordinary.
Uh, well, I was in the most interesting thing that ever happened to me was I was in Kansas, and I
Hmm.
was hunting, and it was it was a trip for me. I'm
Hmm.
a guy from Brooklyn, and here I am hunting in Kansas, totally out of my element. But Cliff, I absolutely love it. I don't, nothing scares me like that, and I
Hmm.
went out there and did my own thing. But so I'm up in a tree stand, and it's getting dark. I leave the stand when you can barely see anymore.
Hmm.
Come down the tree stand. I lower my bow first. I go down, grab my bow, and I look to the left, and I see two green eyes looking at me. It's kind of low because there's a drop off behind like the tree line, so it
Okay.
looks like there's two green eyes under the tree. I get down off the tree stand. I'm at the base of the ladder, and I look, and it's a monster buck, but one side of the of his rack is broken off. So
Wow.
he walks. Now I have a headlamp on. So the buck walked right up to the headlamp and was looking at me right in my face. I said, "This thing is going to gore me." So he makes a left and stands right in the trail where I have to walk out, and he would not move. So I picked up one of these things they call a hedge apple,
Hmm.
took it and just like softly tossed it and hit the buck on the side, and the buck jumped a mile in the air and kind of just moved to the side. So there I am, in Kansas, walking by this monster. I mean, I could have smacked it on its butt. You know what I mean? It sent this thing through the roof. But that
Wow.
was probably the most unique thing that I've ever done. It was a lot of fun.
Wow, that's crazy. All right. So, final question, and we'll wrap this up. All right. If you haven't already been on it, all right, what is your dream hunt?
So my dream hunt, if I had the money, that should be part B of the question.
Oh, all
Uh,
right. So if money were not an issue, what
if
is your
money
dream
was
hunt?
not an issue, okay,
Yeah.
that's a good question. I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to go to Alaska, and
Okay.
I'd like to hunt either grizzly or brown bear
Wow. Okay.
with my bow. That's what I would like to do. I'd like to take a
Wow.
grizzly bear with my bow in Alaska. That would be a dream hunt for me. Be a little scary,
Wow.
but
Yeah, that's what
it would
I'm
be a
just
dream
like,
hunt
because I'm thinking Alaska.
or a
There's
nightmare
really,
hunt.
right?
Did you say nightmare?
Right. I think we got a little confused. No, because I'm thinking Alaska, there's really no cover. So
Yeah,
there's only air and opportunity between
yeah,
you
yeah,
and
yeah.
that animal.
Yeah.
So all right, all right. So before we go, tell people where they could find you, the different Instagram handles, they could find you at.
Okay. So I have two accounts. I have kind of like my personal account, and then I have like a business account. My Rack Life account is at Real Rack Life, and the website where you could purchase apparel is theoriginalracklife.com. And then I also have a personal Instagram page, and you can find me on Facebook. There's links to both and to Twitter. And you could find me at Long Island, long underscore island underscore bowhunter. And or you can just put in Ted Wallace and you'll find me. Just reach out to me, DM me. Any questions? If you guys have any questions or you want to just join the team, just let me know and just DM me, and you could just join the team and the movement. And I hope to see you guys, man.
All right, perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Ted Wallace, you want to join the Rack Life team, you want to represent the Rack Life team, just check them out at realracklife. I was about to say .com, but at Real Rack Life on Instagram. DM him and let him know. Ted, thank you very, very much because
Cliff, thank you, man.
it's awesome to have a fellow New Yorker,
Yeah,
on
I
here
dig it.
talking
Yeah.
about hunting, man.
Yep.
And
Cliff, I
uh,
really appreciate it, man. I love what you're doing. I love your Instagram page. You're
appreciate
a
you.
lot of fun and very informative for a young hunter. I mean, I love it. I dig it.
Nah, I
And
appreciate
you're
it.
doing a great job, man. And you can see your numbers growing. It's pretty cool.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Thank you again, Ted, man. You have a
All right.
great night.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, ladies and gents, that was Ted Wallace, also known as at long_island_bowhunter. All right, I hope I got that right. Or like he said, just look for Ted Wallace. He is also the owner of Rack Life, the hunting apparel brand, just a hunting brand, period. You can check him out on Instagram at Real Rack Life. And you can even check out the website at originalracklife.com. I hope I got that right. Saying it's awesome to have, a fellow New Yorker on to talk hunting. I know I plan on DMing him a little bit more, just to pick his brain about hunting, within New York State, even hunting out of state, just hunting in general. So, all right. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. You guys have a blessed one.